show you a toy if you're going to start dealing with frozen ground. This is a frozen ground gym. Way better than dealing with chopping frozen stuff, flying into the... So, yep. So we'll talk about that too, since you mentioned it. The thing about, everybody preaches about your hole being the exact same size as your trap, but when you start dealing with frozen ground, especially if you put this in before it freezes, what you need to remember is that the ground expands when it freezes. So if you got your trap in there too snug, it's going to freeze it up. It's going to come into the sides. Okay, so I usually worry more about getting my trap bedded in, you know, after I get my hole. I like this hole to be cone shaped this way. I don't care which of these you use. I like a dogless trap. Coyotes are notorious for tearing up a trap, and if you've got a doggone trap, they're gonna 9 times out of 10 gonna bend the dog up, eat the dog. So a lot of, dang near every hardcore coyote trapper I know runs some kind of a dogless trap. I don't have any luck with the old Montes. So I don't use them, but these are Kendalls or a Bridger. I don't have a trouble with it. I run a lot of pan tension. There's 3 to 4 pounds of pan tension on this trap. Otherwise, the only thing I've done to, if any of these traps, is eventually you might have to change out the bolt, especially on the Bridgers. The Bridgers, that bolt is steel and it will corrode over 2 or 3 years of use, and you'll go to torque up sometime to try and bring your pan tension back and it'll break. So I was mandated in Arkansas to use number 2s, but now I think they've changed the law that we can use a 3 size trap down there. But I'll probably still take the 2s with me because I can get more of them in the truck and less weight for that amount of traps in the truck when you're starting to go out of state. It just, you don't realize how much that starts to take into account for everything. So I'm running a wolf fang, and then I'm running this attached to a chunk of chain. Most guys run that wolf fang clear up to the here. I'm using this chain is martin, so that when I'm not going to bury this today, because obviously with that I ain't going to get it back out. So we want this chain to be what's the only thing coming out of the hole, so that when if they pull that and you get that tag sticking up, you're not fighting that tag sticking up in the bottom of your trap bed. And This way you just got chain sticking out. I have the option to replace it if I want to. I've never had a coyote open one of these up. The only thing I've had open them is my stake puller. Pass this around, that way you can tell what I'm talking about for pan tension. I don't run 4 coils. I do on the bridgers, but I don't on Kindles. Should mention, to adjust these, there's a bolt right here. And you loosen this bolt up, that slides that pan back and forth so you can raise or lower that pan. What I've started doing a lot anymore is I'll take, if this pan were high and I'm too lazy to do that, I'll stick something in here, a rod in here, and just bend the pan down. I'm a big advocate of wire screen. I will use wax paper if I get into a pinch. So this is how I cut my wire screen. This wire screen, this will work on the bridgers too. And I get this from Marty Smith.
Do you have any problems with that screen bubbling up? Okay.
You see it's tucked underneath up both jaws. And this stuff on Marty's, you can bend it. Anyways, but no, once it's not. Now I can't express how important this is for these things to be bedded and bedded solid. It's one of the most important things you can do predator trapping. If he steps on any part of this trap and it moves, you've created a digger. It's just his nature. You'll see that I'm still down that far. I like a lot of dirt over my sets. So I would, if I was dealing with this ground or the Nebraska ground, I would pre-drill that hole down there with my wolf fang with this, set it with this. Because if I'm pounding out, you can pound and pound and pound, and I started doing that out there the first, and like, okay, that's enough pounding. And we went with this. So I like, in that thing. So I would go deeper than that. The great thing about this is you can do about anything you want to. I mean, you're going to call this a flat set, but it's kind of a poke set. You could, a lot of times I'll have a hole here and a hole here. This is just what we're going to do today, is you can jumble that all up to make, you know, people will call it a different set. The thing about this is you got to remember, you know, okay, we got a dirt hole set, We got a flat set, you got a pocket set for coons, whatever they want to call it. All it is you're putting an attractor somewhere with a trap in front of it. So I don't care if you're trapping coons or you're trapping mink, it's all really the same concept. The only time it's different is if you're trapping legit blind set.
So you want them stepping over the jaws instead of through them, Tim?
If this was a dirt hole this way, I would have the trap spun this direction. But when we get done here, I'm going to show you every one of my sets is if it's a dirt hole or whatever, it is a walk through. Okay, we're going to walk them through. I'm afraid we're going to have to find some dirt. Now if I'm trapping in the winter, I'm going to have dirt with me. I've quit using waxed dirt. I've had a lot of problems with waxed dirt. The thing about waxed dirt that most people don't realize, you catch enough coyotes with waxed dirt to the average guy that they don't realize they have a problem with waxed dirt. When I went to Nebraska the first time and didn't want to haul waxed dirt with me, I took a magnesium chloride product out, and I had an eye-opening experience because I had always used waxed dirt on opening day. If I was going to start here at home in 2 weeks, I would have waxed dirt on my set. And you know, you catch a coyote or two, and then day 3 was your big, started to pick up coyotes, and day 4, 5, 6. When I went out there, I'm catching coyotes first night. And I thought, okay, I'm not 100% sure, but I suspect it's the waxed dirt issue. And so I came home and set up 2 lines, and the only difference was waxed dirt and not waxed dirt. And the non-waxed dirt set were producing coyotes and the waxed dirt weren't. Gosh, I need some more dirt, man. Because I don't really like this chunky stuff. We can get over here and dig up that dirt. Oh, clay. You're seeing a real trap line experience, guys. That's better. Now, if you notice, there's that much dirt over that trap. Now, when I blend this, I like to blend, you know, everybody tries to blend this in. Sometimes it's easier to blend this out. And then the thing, now if you noticed, I didn't tell you any 9 inches back, 3 inches offset. I'm gonna make him step where I want him to step. So we're gonna put a guide here. People tell you can't buy guide coyotes, you can. They don't have to be big, but sometimes you can go bigger than you think you can. So it doesn't matter to me. I'll probably have a bait in one, a lure in one. To me, there's really not much, unless you're going to gland lures, there's not much difference nowadays between a bait and a lure. All the pre-concocted baits are full of mink glands, beaver castor, whatever rotted meat they're using. To me, it's no different than that lure, except for that lure is a big money maker at $24 an ounce, and you can buy a gallon of bait for 60. But I hesitate to use my coyote gland. If I'm looking at coyotes right now, and this is dictated, I would not probably use a coyote gland lure. I save them for more of a territorial only set, but I wouldn't hesitate to use a bobcat gland lure or a red fox gland lure. But I would have, more than likely, this is going to be whatever lure you have in one and a bait in the other. So that, and then we want this open so that he comes up through here. You make it look like that patch of dirt was already there. If you came back here at the end of the day, that's going to be the way it is. It's going to look natural. Any questions, guys? Now you don't know how to deal with hard ground.
If he comes from this way, will he step?
If he comes from this way, then he's still got this hole over here. The thing you got to remember about a coyote is sometimes he's just doing what he does. You can't, if he comes in here and digs this out, which they might, and they might, you just got to move some blockings around. I mean, it wouldn't bother me to have a bigger blocking here, or here, but sometimes that's just what they do. You know, you can't control where they're going to step sometimes. You can do what you can do. If he come in here and he worked this and dug this out and didn't get caught, I just remake it good. The thing about them is, a lot of guys, you know, you'll find that spot where they worked it, they uncovered or whatever, just reset it, put back the way it was and leave, because he's probably going to come back and you'll nab him the second time. And the big thing about coyote trapping, guys, is don't dink with your sets. Leave them alone, put them in, make sure they're working. If you have a coyote walk by, don't let it bother you. Don't think, okay, what's wrong with my bait? What's wrong with my lure? He's just doing what he's doing that day. He might not want to work it that day, but he knows it's there. And it might take a day or two or whatever for him to decide he wants to work it. Maybe a weather front or something trips him and he decides to work it. But the worst thing you can do is come in here, oh my God, my lure's not working and I need to add some more lure. I need, you know, just leave it alone. I don't use, when it comes to lure, I'm taking a stick, sticking it in the bottle and sticking it in the hole. That's it, whatever's on the stick. It comes to bait, it's whatever I can smear on my butter knife, smear it down in there, a chunk maybe the size of a walnut, the biggest, and that's it.
No sheep wool or nothing like that?
Sometimes I use sheep wool, but I've kind of started to get away from it. The mice and stuff like to drag it out. If I can find a weed here, a weed stem. Here's another way I really have gone to guiding more than this. Okay. That prevents them from walking along here and kicking this or whatever, and this ends up out here. It prevents this from the levers flying up and this flying into the trap. I've really gone to the weed stems.
Or six.
I really like a weed stem. So something the trap couldn't pinch in, pinch in half totally and not be a problem. Like if you're in a soybean field, a soybean stem, they're perfect. That's another, you can use this set if you're in a fence, if you're in a soybean field and you got a row of beans here and a row of beans here, this would be the same deal. You row of beans, and here's your set, and then you put a hole here and a hole here.
If you went in the middle of the trap, the dirt over the middle of the pan there, do you want it just a little bit lower?
You can, but that creates, when you're starting to fight in the wintertime, that creates a whole nother problem. And that's that snow is gonna lay wherever the low spot is. So if you got a low spot here, and that snow blows across here, that's gonna fill in that low spot. Now you got this much snow over the top of your trap, it's probably not gonna work. Okay, so I used to do more of that, making sure I had the low spot for over the trap pan and stuff, but I don't so much anymore. I've really just gone to guiding them and putting them where I want them to put their foot.
Now you usually put a double set, or if this set was here, would you put another one? Or
if this was a pond dam, I would have one of these at each end. But this actual location where we're at right now, and I was trapping this, I'd have this set because it was a perfect spot. But we're gonna go up here right now to that corner up here, and that's the major location. But I'm just, any coyote that comes down through here, I'm gonna pick him up, and I wanted to show you how it doesn't matter what two-track road you're on, if you were back here in the woods or a field access lane or whatever, I wanted to show you how to put that set right in the middle of the wheel tracks. The good thing about this is people drive down through here and they drive over your set. If you start setting the outside edges, the conventional place everybody wants to set, then when he comes down through here, if he's dragging equipment or whatever, he's going to get you. If he's got the standard tractor, now you're pulling a disc or a chisel plow, the wheels are out wider. I don't care if you're set clear out here, he's still going to get you. This way, they just drive right over the top. Any other questions with this one, guys? It doesn't matter, you can do all kinds of things. This could be your T-bone. I like that. I would really want that to be more straight up and down. Get the T-bone in there. We're gonna have to get a battery. Now the thing that guys do with T-bones that they mess up is they think they need to leave it up like this, and you don't. You want that T-bone down. And then your lure's going to go in the T-bone. Okay? you're limited with your imagination. I pick up every coyote turd I come across. So there's Nebraska coyote turds, Arkansas, everything in this jug. And you can yeah, and I wouldn't hesitate to put glandular or urine on those. I'm not a big urine user outside of when it comes to a territorial set. When we go to, well, I'll show you up here, when we go to a dirt hole type set, I don't use, some guys are gonna, I've just gone away from urine. I mean, I know guys use a lot of urine, they catch a lot of stuff with urine, but to me, I've watched my dog a million times stash something. I'll shoot a squirrel for her out of the tree and she'll take that squirrel and go hide it. She never pees on it. She just, it's her little stash. She knows where that stash is at. So I don't know. I don't think, I just don't, I save the urine. If I had a set here and they were coming in and digging this set up and I wanted to make another set, you know, just a territorial type set with turds only and urine, that's where I would use my urine.
So how do you decide if it's a territorial set or just a plain set?
Most of mine are always plain sets, and I go to the territorial set once I start making catches. And if I'm starting to think I need to pick up some stragglers that aren't working stuff, then I'll throw in a territorial set.
On the location, like real highway.
No, I want somewhere close to this. If he's avoiding this set, then I want a set here close for him to work that territorial set. What they do, if they come in here and they're avoiding this set, they're gonna walk around this set. And you want him, then you're gonna catch him in that more subtle set. I'll show you up there, you know, with a dirt hole. A lot of times, if I usually have a dirt hole, my other set is usually this set that's a more subtle set, so that if he doesn't want to work the dirt hole, he can work this one when he's working his thing around and avoiding the dirt hole.
You know, in that particular trap, you like the 2-coil better,
I don't see any need for the 4 coils. I don't.
not coming up through heavier dirt.
I feel that if you got the heavy dirt, if it ain't gonna come up with the 3 with standard coils, it ain't coming up with the 4 coils either. I don't feel. I do logwood and wax. I've messed with speed dips, all kinds of different speed dips, and all I've ever had is issues with it of avoidance. And I just keep going back to logwood and wax, and I'm to the point now I'm not going to try anything else because I've had too many problems with everything else.
Have you ever tried walnut holes?
Yep, I don't have a problem with walnut holes. Walnut holes or it's out here right now with sumac berries. Sumac berries work well too. Yeah, well, it's the same thing. It's a natural, you know, it's logwood. So this would be a standard Kendall standard black trap, coated trap, and I'll wax that. And once they get 2 or 3 years of use on them and it starts to go, then they just go in the logwood pile and with everything else. Logwood and wax. I do like the JC Connor type swivel. See how flat that lays compared to